Hello! Today I'm going to be taking a look at this Holbein Artist Gouache Traditional Colours of Japan Irodori set in spring. This is the last one in the series of 4 videos that I've made. Here are the other 3 sets that I've already reviewed in summer, autumn and winter. I thought it would be nice to finish off with spring today and we can see what lovely colours are inside. So let's get into it. I will link all the previous videos down in the description below, and there is also a playlist. You can watch these really in any order, it doesn't matter too much because they are all separate swatches and paintings. I've really been enjoying these sets of gouache. They are beautiful paints, the quality of them is excellent. I really haven't looked at the colours in here, so I'm discovering the colours with you guys when I paint these out, which is quite exciting. And I am just going to open this lid because I can't wait any longer. And a lovely display of these gorgeous tubes. I love them so much, they look so pretty. So I will get my swatch chart written out and we can see what the names of the colours are. It looks like we've got a few silver ones and maybe some pastel colours. Intriguing! I've written all the names and pigment numbers out. As I suspected, quite a lot of them have a white pigment in there, PW6, pretty sure that's titanium white. So I imagine they're going to be quite pastel-y colours, and it looks like this set has silver in it. 2 of the other sets have golds. I am kind of interested in the fact that the PW20 also is for the gold as well. When I look at it here, same pigment, which when I looked it up it's silver mica, so I'm guessing somehow they managed to make it look gold in some cases. It's also interesting that the silver's in the spring set and not the winter. I would have thought silver would have been quite a good one for winter, but oh well, it doesn't really matter, I guess. Let's check them out. I'm really curious to see what colours we have here. And I was whinging last video in the winter set that there is no yellow. Looks like there's 3 of them here, so that's where they all are. Starting out with the brightest colour in the entire palette here, the Vermilion. This is made up of 3 pigments, a yellow, orange and red, so that's an interesting one, and it's a really gorgeous colour. I love that one a lot, it's such a warm red. And next up is Pale Coral, which is an orange mixed with white. And it's a pretty colour, but I really wish that this was more of a cherry blossom pink, because there is none in this set, which I think is really odd for a Japanese set of colours too. Anyway, the next one along here is Japonica Yellow, and that's a really bright one. I like this colour. It would help if I could paint within the lines, but there we go. And then we have Good Old Lemon, made with PY3, a very common yellow pigment, and it's a very bright colour as well, much cooler than the Japonica Yellow. A third yellow in the set is the light ochre, and how I wish this one had been in the winter set. That would have made more sense to me, but here it is in the spring set. I think Japonica and Lemon would have just been fine on their own without the light ochre in it. Now we move on to greens. This one is Pale Patina. Winter has Patina, which was just PG7. This one also has yellow and white in it. Next up is this much brighter green seedling colour, which really does make me think of spring. This is a great colour for the set and I like it a lot. Then we have this Myosotis Blue, and I had to look up what Myosotis is. It is a flower, and it is a blue flower, so it's almost the same colour. I think the photos looked like they were just a little bit darker than this shade, but it's very similar. And it's a really pretty blue mixed with white, of course. Another blue that's mixed with white here is Dayflower Blue. It's a bit darker, so probably has less white in it, but I think the 2 blues together are really pretty, so I like those in this set. And next up we have one purple, which is Bellflower, and that is basically a purple mixed in with white again, so they do have a very opaque look to them in this palette, and that is due to the titanium white. Then we have Silver Grey, which is very much a mid-tone between a white and a black, and I like it. I think it's a nice opaque grey. It's one that I would see me using quite a lot, because I do use greys all the time, and it's sometimes nice to not have to mix it with black and white. Antique Silver, lovely and shiny, and made from the Silver Mica pigment PW20. And here's the whole palette. I feel like it's a very spring-like palette of colours, especially with all of the pastel ones, and that white is just making everything quite opaque as well. The antique silver's pretty shiny. It's interesting that they have silver grey and antique silver in this set. It's like 2 silvers. Possibly they could have moved these around, but it doesn't matter too much. We'll work with what we have. So I'll get some paintings going. I have a few ideas in mind of what I might do, but usually I will end up changing that at the very last minute, so I never know what I'm quite going to paint until I start actually painting. My first artwork here is probably the most complex one I did out of all 4 seasons. It certainly took the longest to do. I decided I just had to draw a box of macarons because the colours just made me think of them immediately. I guess sometimes they're called macaroons, but I thought those were the coconut ones. But my father calls them Cameroons, and I cannot think of them as anything but Cameroons now, so if I say that, that's because of my dad. Thanks, Dad, for that one. I've almost been caught out a couple of times when ordering them. I nearly said Cameroon, and I could just imagine how embarrassing that will be. I know I'm going to do that one day. But finally I'm painting with them after the drawing took ages to do, and I started off with the Vermilion. I was thinking about doing a different colour, but the orange one was just standing out the most for me, and then I just randomly picked other colours, so they're not in any particular order. So the issue I have with pastel colours, and I've experienced this before, is that they are so beautiful, but it is incredibly difficult to get values out of them because they're not very dark. You can't really get that deep shadow, and so everything just looks really pale, and I was having a bit of trouble with it here. I did mix a few of them together just to get a few different colour variations. And I also put a bit of white on the palette so I could mix it in with colours and also get some lightness that way. But otherwise, it's very difficult to get those shadows, and the whole thing is just a little bit too mid-tone for my liking. So what I did after I'd actually finished painting was go over the whole lot with a pen and outline everything. I don't always add line art to things because it gives it a cartoonish effect, but it actually worked quite well for this particular painting because the macarons are that cartoony colour anyway. It does work quite well, and I do really like how this painting turned out. I spent quite a lot of time on it, and I just think it's one of my favourite paintings that I've done out of all 4 of the sets. I love the colours, but yeah, I just wish there were a couple of darker colours in there so I could have got some shadows going. Happy with how my Cameroons turned out. I think they're cute. For my next artwork, I decided to draw a rabbit because I was thinking of the Easter Bunny. These colours are very Easter-like. Even though it is autumn in Australia, we still have these sorts of colours influenced from Northern Hemisphere spring. And this weekend is also Orthodox Easter, so happy Easter if you're celebrating. My husband Nick is Greek Orthodox, so we'll be celebrating it with his family on Sunday. And I'm painting an Easter bunny for it. I did not have a brown in this set, so I had to make one up, and I basically used the Vermilion mixed in with some of the yellow ochre and some of that pale patina green just to give it a more neutral colour. And then I went in with some of the yellows to get a more orangey effect as well. I just went over the bunny a few times until I was happy with how the fur colour came out. It may well be a hare, I'm not entirely sure. I can never remember the differences between rabbits and hares. They all kind of look similar to me. I guess hares are maybe more slender and have longer ears. I don't know. Tell me if you know. I did use a bit of black for the rabbit's eye here because I just needed to. There's just nothing else that is dark enough to make a black out of. And once again in this painting I struggled with values, trying to get darker shadows. I think I did end up using just a tiny bit of black on the fur in a few areas to get a bit of shadow because there's just not much else I could do. The grass also ended up being a bit too flat. Even though I mixed the two different greens together, they are pretty much exactly the same value, so it's hard to get a lot of definition. I added a little bit of white over the top, but yeah, I just struggled with the grass. We won't worry about that too much. I also ended up using a diluted version of the seedling green for the background, and it goes quite a lot more yellow when you add some water, so it's quite nice. I think I did actually add in some of the lemon yellow there now I'm looking at it. I like how the bunny turned out, even though I couldn't get it as contrasty as I would have liked. The grass is a bit crappy in the front, but never mind. I could probably go over it again with some other colours later if I absolutely have to. Otherwise, I'm happy with this painting. I think the rabbit's really cute and it's a good little Easter painting. Now I remember that I did add on some of the silver over the top of the rabbit just to make it pop a little more, and then I also added some dots of different colours over the background and the grass just to make it look a bit more interesting, because it just feels a bit flat like this. Now it looks like an Easter painting with those coloured dots. So here is my third and final painting for the day, and I really wanted to do another abstract because I have been having so much fun with those in the previous videos, and for this one I was thinking it could be really fun just to cover the whole page with little flowers using all of the different colours of paint and using up all of the gouache that's on the wet palette, because I've found with gouache that if it sits in a wet palette for a couple of days it just runs everywhere, far more than acrylic paint does. So I just like to use all the paint up if I can, and this was a good way to do it. My flowers aren't exactly realistic. I was just going for a 5-petal shape and some of them worked out better than others. I just kept layering over the top with all of the different colours, going back to the first colours once I'd gone through the whole palette and adding another layer on the top. This was really fun. It took a little while to do. It was quite time consuming, but I did enjoy it. It was very relaxing and it wasn't exactly something that I had to think about too much. I also flicked a whole bunch of paint across the page as well because I had so much paint left over, and of course I had to use some stickers because I just couldn't help myself. I'm pretty sure I got that gold pen out as well. That has to be one of my most favourite art supplies at the moment. And I'm done with the fourth box of Artist Gouache. So here is the palette of colours, my first painting, a box of Cameroons, and then these two little Eastery related ones, my bunny and whatever this is. So I enjoyed using this set, I do like that it has a lot of pastel colours in it, but I think as a set on its own it does have its limitations because it's very difficult to get anything very dark. So it's a great set to make a few little paintings, but I am starting to see from all 4 videos that I've done that the sets would work just so much better together, and I'm sure that's how they've marketed it, so that you end up buying them all. And I would be really curious to see what all of the colours look like together, so I think I might do a 5th video just swatching every single colour in all 4 sets out, and we'll see what the whole palette looks like together. But this is the spring palette today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you might have painted with these colours, because I'm always interested to hear your ideas. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button. And I will see you all again really soon for another video. Take care out there. Swatch you later. Bye.